Alright, got the pump off of there. It's the old one. It's the new one. It's got some chintzy gaskets, so I got some Velcro gaskets. So, gotta get this cleaned up. Got myself a little handy dandy razor blade holder, so that's kind of nice. So, get this cleaned up, get this new pump on there. Alright, I'm almost ready to put the new pump on there. I just gotta finish, I just want to wipe this off one last time, but it's pretty clean. Got the bolts cleaned up, so they're looking pretty good. I just put them in these vice grips and you know, held the vice grips on here. Use this stiff bristle brush, you know, knock all the crud off of there, and then just spray them with some brake clean. Cleans them up pretty nice. These are the gaskets that came with the water pump. They're, you know, they're okay, but you know, I got the Velcro, so I already put the gasket on the pump, took the backing plate off, and it's kind of surprised how dirty this actually was. So I took the plate off, I cleaned the water pump mating surface, and I cleaned the backing plate. Got it all, you know, cleaned up, put the plate back on, you know, just snug these bolts up, and you really want to take your time, you know, snugging them when it starts getting tight, and just kind of, you know, don't go crazy. Once again, it's all aluminum. Strip this out, you're going to be pretty irritated. So I mean, I just did it by hand, and just used a 3/8 drive ratchet. And once you start getting them snugged up, you know, kind of go back and forth, so even out that tension. So yeah, like I said, I'm just gonna wipe that off and then get that pump up on here. Alright, so before I go finishing this, that's the ground wire. Definitely need a new one, but for now, just gonna clean up the surface, you know, take that bolt off, clean it. Probably put some little bit of lithium grease on there. Probably be a good time to change it right now, but didn't grab one, so it's okay. I could change it later. But while I've got fairly decent access to it right now, I'm going to do that. Alright. So that's where it attaches on the block. That's the bracket that goes up against the block. And then that's the cable coming from the battery. So what I did, I just sprayed some lithium grease on a towel, grabbed that acid brush, just wipe some on the brush, bring it over to the car. Got some on the block there, got some on that bracket, and got some on the negative lead there. So ready to slap this back together. Alright, so got the pump back on there. I'm going to try to go through what all these bolt sizes are. So the bolts for the water pump are 5/8, and there's 7 of them. So there's 1, 2, 3 that are bolts. Okay, they're 5/8. All the water pump bolts are 5/8. So you're going to need a deep socket for these other ones. So you've got 4 that are studs. So you got 1, 2, 3, and 4. So then getting into this bracket, you've got 9/16, 9/16, 9/16, 9/16 down here. Then there's a big nut back here. That is 11/16. And then there are 3 bolts that go around the perimeter of the air conditioner. All 3 of them are 1/2 inch. So this is 1/2 inch. And then you got 2 down here that are 1/2 inchers. And that's that big 11/16 right there. So, and this one on the bottom is the really long through bolt. It's a 9/16, but it's really long. It goes through the bracket for the power steering pump. And the bolts for this pulley are 7/16. You want to break them loose while the belt's still on, so it's got tension on there. It makes it a lot easier to get them off. So right now I got them on. I snugged them up, but I'm going to put the belt on to finish tightening these, get them tightened up. So yeah, I'll throw the belt back on there. Alright, I'm going to throw this belt back on there. Definitely want a nice 1/2 inch breaker bar, 18mm socket, goes on the pulley. Alright. Make sure it's on all the pulleys. Everything looks good. So that's the routing. So it comes, the back side of the belt goes around the water pump, and every other pulley it rides on the outside except for this idler. So it's the idler and the water pump. So it goes down around power steering, around the crank, comes back up around the water pump, and then if you have an air pump, which this has air pump eliminator, back up to the alternator. Alright, so I finished tightening up the water pump pulley. That's all set. I want to pull this mass air meter sensor and clean that thing up. So what you're going to need are, they call these tamper-proof Torx. So you see how they got like a hole in the middle? I mean, it's basically a Torx bit with a hole in the center of it. So that's just going to need to get it off of there. Well, it's a lot easier to just take the meter off with this ram air induction setup. So, I mean, if you don't have the ram air hood, which I'm sure most people don't, you can get this off without, you can get the sensor out of there without taking the whole meter out of the car. So you're going to need a T20 tamper-proof Torx for these. So I got them broken loose, so I'm going to take them off of there. These induction screws are 5/16, or you can use a flathead screwdriver on them. And then it's going to be cleaning it with this mass airflow sensor cleaner. Alright, so that's the sensor out of the housing. It looks pretty clean, but I'm blasted anyways. Alright, so I just sprayed off the hot wires. You don't want to touch them. You don't want to touch them with the straw on that sprayer. And this is going to sit overnight. If you're going to do this and you want to use your car the same day, I mean, I would at least wait an hour. Maybe even put it by a fan, blow some air over it, make sure it's all dried off. So I'm going to wait overnight anyway, so it doesn't really matter. It should be good to go after that. So you just reinstall it in the housing and it's ready to go.